Hey everyone, this is Janelle here, and I am the certified life purpose coach behind Life Designer University. Now, Life Designer University is a coaching and personal development company that I own where I coach and educate Christian millennial women who are wanting to quiet the voice of culture to really uncover their purpose so that they can design a life that they and God love. So typically, these women are living in the tension of curating these successful careers and designing a purpose-driven life that is in alignment with God's plan. So I've created a framework that allows them to quiet the voice of culture so that they can uncover their purpose, clarify their calling, and to achieve their goals and be equipped with the personal development training along the way in every aspect of their life purpose journey. So that's just a little bit more about me. I would love to know about you. So if you're tuning in, please do leave me a comment telling me who you are and where you are tuning in from. Okay, so I know this live is a bit unplanned, and yeah, I typically send out an email in advance, but this has been a crazy work season for me, and so I'm in the process of catching up with those things. So it's okay if you are going to be watching this replay because it wasn't planned and I didn't notify you all, and so there will be a replay available, and if you don't catch it, I'm simulcasting right now on Facebook and Instagram. So if you don't catch it on Instagram, you can always go to lifedesigneru.com and the replay will be housed on the blog post for this week. Or you can always go to Facebook Live and watch the replay as well. Okay, so I see people joining here on Instagram. So please let me know who you are and where you're tuning in from. Again, I'm Janelle Alexandra, and I'm the certified life purpose coach behind Life Designer University, where we coach, educate, and equip Christian millennial women to really quiet the voice of culture so that they can uncover their purpose and finally design a life that they and God love. And so I want to come on here. I've been doing these lives every week, and they have been the highlight of my week. And it's been really cool to just see where you guys are at in the process of your life purpose journey, especially as we are entering into the latter half of 2019. So if y'all been following me along for the last month, you know that here at Life Designing University, it is back to school season. So this was absolutely my favorite time growing up. I absolutely would love to go back to school shopping and get all like the planners, the notebooks, the pens. I was that girl. I actually enjoyed school. So it's so funny because when I'm having conversations with my mentee, she's a junior in high school right now, and she's like, oh, I hate back to school season. And I'm like, oh, that was like fun to me. And I guess it wasn't necessarily like the fact that you know, I was going back and we were going back to doing like the tests and quizzes and things like that. Now that actually did give me anxiety, but it was more so the fact that it really represented a fresh start. I like to think of this time of year between August and September as almost like a pre-season to the new year, right? And so it's the perfect time to really take a step back because we're coming back from work, vacations, and things like that, and really just diving back into a lot of purposeful work, right? And so it's the perfect time to really reflect and really decide how you want to make the most of the rest of the year because there's still time left. And you know, I joke around with my friends, we joke around with each other that like basically the year is over, it's already 2020, like we're already there in our mind, but in actuality, there is still time left to really, you know, make progress in your purpose and goals. And so if you've been following along with Life Designer University for the last month, we've been talking about how you can refresh, reset, and refocus yourself to end the year strong. And probably stronger than you actually started. Okay, and so the first week was all about rest and how it really restores us and prepares us to finish what we started, not even just with the year, but just in the race that God has set before us. So if you find that you're burnt out right now and you are running yourself dry, and this might be a time for you to actually have a retreat with God and to rest and refresh yourself, so you can finish the work that He placed before you. So that was the first week. And then last week was all about, refreshing your goals. And so if you join the live, and you can actually catch it on the blog from last week, or again on Facebook at Life Designer University. But last week on live, we talked about how before you can refresh your goals, you have to be at a place where you're going to recommit to them. It is by recommitting that you are making a decision to silence your flesh in your feelings, to focus on the things that the Lord is calling you to do. So a decision comes before a commitment, right? And so before we can refresh our goals and really pivot them and redesign them to fit our season, we have to make sure that we are recommitted to ourselves, God, and our goals. Okay, and this week is all about redesigning our rhythms and routines. So on stories, if you're following me over here on Instagram, yesterday I had posted some stories in the morning, and I had snapped a picture of my quiet time and my coffee, and I was sharing that my morning routine is like the best thing of my day. And I guess it's because I'm a morning person, so I don't have a problem with getting up at 5 a.m. I actually prefer to get up at 5 a.m. because it gives me more time to ease into my day. I don't like to wake up and go. I like to take my time. And so really it is my morning routine that allows me to move into the day slowly, but it also really sets me up to focus on my intentions and set my intentions for the day. And so I shared that in yesterday's story. And I love that, because not only do routines allow you to do that, but so do rhythms. And so this is what we're talking about this week. And I actually have a newsletter about to go up after I do this live. But routines and rhythms are really what allow us to carve out the time and space for us to pursue our goals and to achieve them. And so in the newsletter, if you're subscribed to the list, you'll get more on this later on. But and I have my notes right here, so if you see me looking down, it's because I have my notes. But rhythms and routines really allow our purpose, goals, to-dos, responsibilities, and all those things to really come together as a whole by helping us carve out our schedules and time to make those things happen. And so I talk about in the newsletter that's going out live later today that really, if you think about just like rhythm, like musically, right? It is rhythm that allows like the tones, the melodies, like the notes, all those things come together to create a beautiful symphony of sound, right? But without the rhythm, there's just chaotic noise. And that's exactly what our life looks like when we don't have rhythms and routines in place that allow us to move effectively and efficiently in our purpose and our goals. And so it's so important that you have these routines in place so you can be efficient, okay? Efficiency as a type 1 on the Enneagram is super important to me. And so it is by having routines and rhythms that allows me to create order in my day. I know exactly what I'm working on each day. I know exactly the time and place I need to be everywhere, so I'm not running around frantically and allowing things to happen to me or allowing my day to dictate what's going on versus intentionally designing my day. So routines and rhythms allow you to do that for yourself. And so with them, we can really move through life intentionally and purposefully. And so I wanted to share with you all 5 rhythms and routines that you can redesign to make sure that you are not only just ending the year strong, but really designing a life that matters to you and a life where you can be productive and efficient in it, okay? And so the first routine and rhythm to have in place is your quiet time routine. Now, for me, this is like the cornerstone of my day. This is the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning. I intentionally take some time and I spend it with God. It's like the time that I am literally taking my day, and y'all have a lot of things to do. Not only am I a life purpose coach and I do Life Designing University, but I also do freelance project management for a few clients. And so I have literally a never ending to-do list. And if I'm not careful, that to-do list can be very overwhelming to me in midst of all the other responsibilities that I have. I mentor multiple high school girls, so I have a lot of meetings throughout the week too. And so a lot of our lives look like that. We just don't have work going on. We have all these other responsibilities, whether it is, a responsibility as a wife or as a mom, or maybe you've made commitments to your church and you're volunteering there or at organizations, or you have friends, right? You hang out. And so there's a lot going on in the week, and there are a lot of chances for a lot of unexpected things to be thrown at us as well. And so we have to make sure that before we open up our phones and we turn on the noise of the day and of our life, that we quiet that noise and we surrender and submit our days before God. And so at the beginning of each day, I probably for about 30 minutes or so, sometimes an hour if I have more time, but definitely between 15 and 30 minutes, I just take that time to spend before the Lord, where I'm doing some type of devotion. So a couple of the devotions that I like to read in the morning are the First Five app by Proverbs 31 Ministries. They have a phenomenal app where they have different plans that you can go through, and even if you have more time, it takes about 5 minutes. That's why it's called First Five. But if you have more time, you can click on their More Moments section and can dive deeper into the study for the day. And so I like the First Five. I also like She Reads Truth, and so I have a She Reads Truth Bible, and at the beginning of every chapter, there's a reading plan, there's devotions within the chapters, but they also do have a freestanding app and website. And so the website is actually free. And so whatever plan that they are going through during, that time period, you can actually follow along with the plan, or you can download the app. And I think it's like $1.99 or $2.99 a month, or whatever the subscription is, to have access to all the plans mobilely. And so those are a great options to consider, or even doing a book, or honestly just grabbing your pen and paper and just diving into the word, right? And so sometimes when I don't necessarily feel like going through a plan, but I know the Lord is working something within me, or I'm struggling with something, and so I will do specific word studies or topic studies where I'm just going through the concordance, like in the back of the book, and I'm just kind of creating a case of scriptures to really fight back whatever is going on in my life right now. And so really it's not like you have to do like this thing or so. You just need to do whatever works best for you and where you are at with your walk in the Lord. So even if you're listening to sermons, sometimes I'll listen to a sermon, or I do like in the First Five app that they have like weekly sermons or studies that they do at the end, where it's audio teaching. So those are good options, but you just want to make sure that you are taking time to really surrender and submit your day before the Lord before everybody else decides what's going on in your day. So that's the first routine that you want to have in place. Now, the second one is your morning and night routine. And so I just talked about this. So my quiet time is actually incorporated into my morning routine. But the best morning routines are ones that, you have time to have quiet and reflection. And so whether that reflection is meditation, or you're doing, and let me just preface this. Meditation doesn't have to be this woo-woo thing where you're just like chanting. I know that some people have that negative connotation of meditation, but it doesn't have to look like that. Meditation is simply a repetition of words and thoughts. So you can literally be meditating on the word as well, and you can just be constantly thinking about the scripture or whatever the Lord is telling you, and you're just being quiet before Him. That's a form of meditation, right? And so you can incorporate some quiet or meditation into your day, devotion time, also doing affirmations, okay? So one of the ways that one of the parts of my morning routine is affirmations. And so what I'll do is I will either review or I'll write my goals down, and then I will form affirmations that support those goals, if that makes sense. So say if my goal is to lose like 20 pounds or something like that, then my affirmation would be, I'm healthy, confident, and whole with who God created me to be, right? And so those affirmations back those goals. And so from that, I am speaking those things and I'm declaring that those words are over me, and I am backing the goals with words so that they can become actions and results, okay? And so that's basically how we can really track what we're seeing in our life. Everything really forms with a thought, right? And so this is actually a model that I teach within my coaching programs, but it's called a self-coaching model, and how it works is that there's a circumstance that happens that triggers a thought, and that thought will trigger an emotion, and an emotion will trigger an action, and an action will trigger a result. So that is why, there's nothing new under the sun. A lot of these things that we hear are actually biblical principles, because if we think about it, it talks about that in Romans 12:2, how we can be transformed by the renewing of our mind, right? Because if the thoughts that we're thinking are causing us to take actions that are in alignment with what we want to see, that means we have to go back to what we're thinking. And so affirmations help to solidify inform new thoughts. And so that's why I love to do affirmations in my morning routine. And I also recommend my clients do them as well when we're working on certain goals. Okay, so Twambo said, someone said meditation is about trying to become God, but Christian meditation is about connecting with God. I felt that, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a woo-woo person. I don't do like the new age type spirituality. That's not where I come from. Everything is very biblically rooted. And so me taking time to meditate on who God is. It's not even necessarily about us and what we want, but just meditating and reflecting on who God is. That will just change your disposition toward the day, because you're not even thinking about yourself. You're thinking about how good God is and how you're just grateful to be alive. Like, you know what, Lord, I'm just grateful that you saved me, And so that's why I love taking those moments in my morning routine to reflect, to meditate, and really spend time in the Word. So you want to have those components of your morning routine. Also exercise if you can fit it in. It's always good to get the mind, the body moving. For me personally, if I work out earlier in the day, it's more likely to happen then than afternoon or in the evening. And so for me, that always works. And so in order to be able to do all these things, though, you have to make sure that you're getting up at a time that allows you to have the space to make these things happen. And so that is why I would recommend that even if you're not a morning person, just try to get up at least an hour earlier than before, just so you can have the time to really carve out a routine that helps you to start your day strong. Okay, so that's all for morning routines. Night routines are similar, and it's really just about doing whatever works best for you so you can decompress, unwind, and start to plan for your day. So I'm planning for the next day. So your night routine should help you to prepare for the next day, but also allow you to start to really rest and restore so you can enter into the next day, okay? So for me, my nighttime routine, I like to light a candle, I'll make some tea, and I will either do another devotion depending on kind of how that day went, or I'll do I'll just journal. And so I'll just journal how the day went, or I'll journal a prayer or gratitude. But I notice, especially the older I get, there are a few things that I do more and now, so I can really make sure that I'm easing my anxiety. And so my personality is naturally anxious. I'm not claiming anxiety, but I tend to anxiety if I'm in my flesh, right? And so therefore, I have to do things to release that anxiety. So exercise is always great for me, but also like diffusing essential oils, just really creating a restful environment is important to me in order for me to be able to rest at night and plan for my day ahead. And so, like I said, these routines are meant for you. And so I'm sharing what works for me, but do what feels best for you, because what works for me may or may not work for you, and that's okay. So I never want to come off as this guru who knows everything, because that is not true. I'm just simply here to offer suggestions that work for me, and you can take what works and you can leave what doesn't. Okay, and so routines. So if you're just joining us right now, we're talking about 5 different rhythms and routines that you can have in place to really make sure that you are really increasing your productivity, but also really just maximizing your momentum, not only as you end this year, but as you just go about really designing a life that you and God love, okay? And so we talked about the first routine that you need to have in place is your quiet time. So starting the day off with our Lord and Savior and really surrendering and submitting your plans to Him. Now, the second routine we talked about is the morning and night routine. And the third routine is weekly planning. And so I keep on saying, oh, this is my favorite routine. Oh, this is my favorite routine. And I guess all of them are my favorite because I'm just naturally wired to plans and routines, right? But the third routine is weekly planning. And so weekly planning allows you not to be frantically moving throughout your week. And it's so funny because when I was in college, my best friend, she would come to my room every week, and I would help her to plan out her week, because she would forget the things that she told people that she would do, or that, places that she was supposed to show up at. And so in order to actually make her show up to those things, I sat down and I created her plans for her, and we outlined her schedule, her homework, all those things, her work, whatever she was doing, so she could show up and be where she needed to be, right? And so, even though we've graduated, we still do those same things today, right? And so every week on Sundays, I like to sit down and I look at my week at a glance in either iCal, or I do have a physical planner that I use as well. And so I'll look at what is coming up for that week. And so I'll actually take it a step further, because I do have a business, and then I do work with clients outside of that too. And so therefore I will look at any meetings I have going on, any projects that are due for me, any coaching sessions that I have going on, and I will put all those things into not only just my iCal, but my physical planner as well. So I like to have things in multiple different places, but really weekly planning allows you to make sure that you are showing up well, and you're showing up with intention, versus just showing up and expecting everything to go the way you think it's going to go, if that makes any sense. So weekly planning really just allows you to really design your week, instead of allowing the different things you have going on to dictate you and how you're going to show up. And so I like to be proactive instead of reactive. And so planning helps you to be proactive. And so go ahead and put all your to-dos, all your responsibilities, all your meetings, just put them in the calendar and take some time to do that weekly. So it doesn't have to be Sunday. Sunday works for me because I like to start the week off that way. But for some people, they like to do that on Friday as they're closing out the week. So again, it's all about just doing what works best for you, and that's going to work best for your schedule. Okay, so that's the third routine. The fourth one is personal development. And so one of the values and the heart behind Life Design University is you should always be growing and in pursuit of purpose. And so you want to make sure that you're constantly learning and evolving. Okay, so developing yourself personally allows you to grow into your purpose and your calling, and to achieve the things that the Lord is calling you to achieve. And so I just wanted to challenge you to think about, how are you personally how are you investing in your personal development and your growth? So whether that be a skill that you know that you want to acquire that will best serve your company that you're working at, or a skill that will help you to grow the ministry or the business that you're starting, or even if you're working on your mindset, because oftentimes before we can even think about these goals that we're trying to pursue, we have to renew our minds because we have a lot of strongholds that are preventing us from moving forward and that are keeping us stuck and stagnant instead of moving forward. And so sometimes before we can even get to the goals, we have to work on our mindset. And so what are the things that are you doing to work on your mind? Maybe counseling, and maybe, you reading these books that are going to elevate your mind and your growth, that's going to move you from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And so just think about ways that you can invest in your personal development and actually make it a routine to do those things weekly. So maybe that is setting aside some time to read these books, or maybe it is setting time to go to your counseling or therapy session. Maybe it does look like you working with a coach to help you to move forward, but just decide whatever it is that you're going to do and make sure that you have it in your calendar to make it happen. Because I think there's a saying that says that if it's not in the calendar, then basically it's not going to happen, right? Because it becomes, it lives in your head, and there's no way of you remembering everything that you set out to do for the week unless you see it in front of you. So write it down in your calendar and make it happen. Okay, so we've been talking about rhythms and routines that you can redesign to really end the year well. So we talked about having a quiet time routine. You want to have a morning and night routine in place, as well as weekly planning and personal development. And last but not least, you want to make sure that you have a routine of rest. So rest as in Sabbath rest. This is so important, and I mean, all these things are important, but I know for me personally, I really did not understand the value and importance of rest. And that is because I tend to work so hard and work so much from a place of wanting to do all the things that the Lord is calling me to do, but sometimes it can be from a place of striving instead of resting. And I think that because of our culture and our society teaches that, you have to always be on, or you have to always be doing something, that we forget that, rest is not just a suggestion. It's actually a commandment. And that's like something that the Lord had to convict me about, because he's like, I'm not just suggesting like that would be nice. No, you need to rest. Like this is actually a thing. And so therefore, that's why he created the Sabbath. The Lord created the Sabbath so we can set aside time to intentionally rest, but also to remind us that it's not us who makes all these things happen. It's not all these things, or it's not us who has this world spinning, on our shoulders. It's the Lord. And so while we are resting, God is working. And in that rest, he restores us by giving us the tools. He's giving us the strategies. He's giving us the energy that's needed to do the work that he has set before us. So if we're constantly working, if we're constantly running and we're not resting, it's inevitable that we're going to be burnt out. And I've experienced this firsthand last month. Perfect example. Sorry, y'all. I have coffee right here that I'm just like, listen, it's been a lot of late nights for me. But anyways, perfect example was last month. I took the month of July off because I was completely and totally burnt out, because I had been working for years, basically for years, and not taking any breaks. And it all came to a culmination literally July 1st. I woke up and was like, this ain't it. Something ain't right. And that was the Lord reminding me, you need to come and retreat with me. And here's the thing, guys. Jesus did it all the time. He took intentional time away from the disciples, away from the crowds, so he could rest and he could restore and he could be with God. Because it was in those moments, in those quiet moments, in those moments of rest, that the Lord poured into him, that the Lord affirmed him of who he was and what he was going to do for the kingdom, okay? And so therefore, we have to make sure that we are resting. It's not a suggestion, it is a commandment. And so when we can really incorporate this into our routines, we're going to be more, obviously more restful, but we're going to have more energy and enthusiasm for the things that the Lord is calling us to do. And also so we can pour into those around us, okay? And so this may look different, again, for you based on where you are in the season, but I would recommend that everybody just take at least one day of total rest. I'm working on this. It is my goal to have absolutely nothing to do, nothing to do on the weekends. Like so the fact that like all my grocery shopping, all my meal prepping, all my chores are done before, so I can literally just chill, because I just don't do that. So my husband, out of the two of us, is the one that's like more spontaneous and restful and does whatever. Me, like, even if I'm sitting there, I'm like, nah, like I have to do something. I can't just sit here. Like, I don't even like to watch TV, y'all. It's like me forcing myself to sit down when I'm watching TV. So that's just to show like how I personally am. And so that's my goal. I'm not there yet. We're working toward that. But anyways, do whatever works best for you. So if that's a day, a whole weekend, but also don't underestimate the importance of having daily restoration as well. And so shutting things off at a certain time, including social media, and having time where you can just really decompress and you can rest and you can prepare your heart and your soul for what's to come. Okay, so these are the rhythms and routines that are really going to set you up to win well just in life, period, but also to finish the year strong. And so for more on these rhythms and routines, and even if you're just wanting more on how you can refresh, reset, and refocus yourself, to end the year strong, there's actually a workshop that's online. It's an online workshop that I'm doing this Saturday. So I'm going to be going even deeper into rhythms and routines, but also goal setting. And so in that workshop, it's going to be jam-packed of value. And so we're going to be going over a lot of things. There's going to be live group coaching as well. And so if you've been in a space where you've been wanting to work with me, or you've been wanting to experience what coaching looks like, we're going to be doing live goal setting exercises through this workshop and some other group coaching things as well. And so that is going to be this Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can hop on from anywhere in the world. You just register. Y'all, the tickets are only $29, which is basically brunch. So if you're thinking about going to brunch this weekend, don't even think about it. It's okay. You can make your brunch and you can come have brunch with me. And it's actually going to be set up as a small group setting. So I'm actually going to be able to see you, right? And so that's why, like, I want y'all to register now, because there are only limited spots available, just because I like to keep my workshops intimate to make sure that everybody has the coaching, like the personal aspect of coaching, although it's a group coaching format, and they can get what they need. And I can also answer any questions. And so definitely sign up for that. It's going to be a great time. And we're also going to be diving into some other things as well. So I would love to see you there. To register for that, if you are tuning in on Instagram, you can actually click the link in the bio. It's called the Refresh, Reset, Refocus Workshop. Or if you're tuning in on Facebook Live, you can actually click the link in the description, or you can go to bit.ly/reset workshop, and you can register and grab your tickets there. Okay, and I also have a free guide that goes along with this whole theme for the month, the Refresh, Reset, Refocus Lifestyle Guide. That is also available by clicking the link in the bio if you're on Instagram, or you can go to lifedesigner.com/volume3 with a 3 spelled out. Okay, so all those links are going to be either in the caption or in the bio. But yeah, y'all, let's make sure that we are preparing ourselves to end the year strong. There is still time left. I don't care how your year started. I don't care how crappy 2019 has been. You still have time to take the reins of the year and really making sure that you're ending this year strong and making it count. Okay, so that is all for now. And if y'all have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. You can email me at janelle@lifedesigneru.com, or just simply shoot me a DM, and I would absolutely love to answer them for you. Okay, so y'all have a great rest of your day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.